Captain Kim Tae-ho looked out at the stars through the main window of his ship. The stars looked different now. They looked cold and angry like the eyes of enemies who wanted him dead. His ship was called the UES Determination, and it was the last human ship left in the whole galaxy. Kim walked slowly across the bridge. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. Every step felt heavy, like he was carrying the weight of all humanity on his shoulders. Behind him, his crew worked at their stations. Their faces were serious, but not afraid. They knew what was coming. They knew they might die today, but they were ready. The bridge was quiet except for the soft sounds of computers and machines. Admiral Park So-young sat at the weapons station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls, checking and double-checking everything. She had been fighting aliens for 10 years. Her family died when the aliens attacked Earth. She never forgot that day. She never forgave. Commander Lee Jin-woo turned from his station near the back wall. His job was to talk to other ships and listen to alien messages. His face was pale, but his voice was steady when he spoke. "Captain, we are getting messages from the alien fleet. They want us to surrender." Kim did not answer right away. He kept looking out at the stars. Out there in the darkness, 10,000 alien ships waited for his answer. 10,000 ships against one human ship. The math was simple. The aliens should win easily, but math never told the whole story about humans. Chief Engineer Cho Min-ho climbed up from the lower levels of the ship. His uniform was dirty with oil and metal dust. He had been working for 3 days straight trying to fix their special engine. The quantum drive was damaged, but it still worked. It was their only hope of escape if things went very bad. Kim finally turned around to face his crew. His eyes moved from person to person. These were good people. They had families once. They had homes and dreams and plans for the future. All of that was gone now. The aliens took everything, but they could not take the one thing that made humans special. They could not take the will to fight. The alien fleet sent another message. Lee read it out loud. "They say we have 1 hour to surrender. They say if we give up now, they will make our death quick and painless. They say if we fight, they will make us suffer." Lieutenant Commander Han Ji-eun looked up from her station. She was young, only 25 years old, but she was the best pilot in what was left of the human fleet. Her job was to control the ship when they fought. She could make the determination dance like a bird in space, even when enemy weapons were trying to kill them. "What do we tell them, Captain?" she asked. Her voice was calm, but Kim could see fire in her eyes, the same fire that burned in all of them. The fire that made humans different from every other species in the galaxy. Kim walked to the center of the bridge. There was a big chair there, where the captain always sat during battles. He did not sit down. Instead, he stood behind it and put his hands on the back of the chair. His knuckles were white from gripping so hard. The ship computer spoke in a soft female voice. Dr. Song Hye-jin was not a real person. She was an artificial intelligence, but she sounded real enough. The crew called her Dr. Song and treated her like family captain. "I have been calculating our chances of survival if we fight. The numbers are not good." Kim smiled. "For the first time in days, Dr. Song. You have been with us for 5 years. Have you ever seen humans do something because the numbers were good?" The computer was quiet for a moment. Then she spoke again. "No, Captain, I have not. Humans always do things that make no sense mathematically. That is what makes you interesting." Science officer Dr. Kang Woo-jin turned in his chair. He was older than the others. His hair was gray and his face had lines from years of studying alien technology. He knew more about their enemies than anyone else on the ship. "Captain, the aliens are afraid of us. That is why they brought so many ships. They could have sent 100 ships and still won easily, but they sent 10,000. Why do you think that is?" Dr. Kim asked, because they remember what happened at Proxima Station. Kang said his voice was serious. When we fought there with just 3 ships against their whole battle group, we lost, but we took 200 of their ships with us. They learned that fighting humans is expensive. Medical Officer Dr. Shin Ye-won stood up from her station in the back. She was ready to take care of wounded crew members during the battle. She had seen too many good people die in this war. Her job was to save lives. But sometimes, the best way to save human lives was to take alien lives. Lieutenant Ju Dong-hyun was checking the navigation systems. He was responsible for plotting their course through space during battle. His job was very dangerous. One wrong move, and they would fly into an enemy ship or crash into an asteroid. But he was the best navigator in the fleet. The alien message came again. This time it was different. Lee Jin-woo listened carefully, then turned to face the captain. They are broadcasting on all frequencies. Captain, they want the whole galaxy to see us surrender. They want other species to see that humans can be broken. Kim felt anger rise in his chest like hot fire. The aliens did not just want to kill the last humans. They wanted to prove that human spirit could be crushed. They wanted to show the galaxy that no species could stand against the coalition forever. Chief Petty Officer Yang Kyung-ho came onto the bridge. He was in charge of fixing the ship when it got damaged in battle. His team was ready with tools and spare parts. They knew the ship would take heavy damage today if they fought, but they also knew they could keep it flying, no matter what happened. Security Chief Oh Sung-min checked his weapons one more time. His job was to protect the ship from enemy soldiers who might try to board them during battle. He had fought hand-to-hand against alien warriors before he was not afraid of them. Aliens were strong and fast, but they did not have human anger. Captain Kim looked at each member of his crew one more time. These people had lost everything. The aliens destroyed. Earth killed their families and scattered humanity across the galaxy. But they were still here, still fighting, still refusing to give up. The hour was almost over. The alien fleet was waiting for an answer. Kim walked to the communication station and picked up the microphone. His voice would be heard on 10,000 enemy ships. It would be broadcast to alien worlds across the galaxy. Billions of creatures would hear what he said next. He thought about his daughter, Yoon-na-ri. She died when the aliens bombed the colony on New Seoul. She was only 8 years old. She loved to draw pictures of spaceships and dreamed of being a star pilot someday. The aliens took her dreams away. They took her future. They took everything. Kim pressed the button and spoke into the microphone. His voice was calm and clear. Attention, Coalition Fleet. This is Captain Kim Tae-ho of the UES Determination representing the last free humans in the galaxy. You have asked for our surrender. Here is our answer. He paused and looked at his crew. They were all watching him. Their faces showed no fear, only determination. The same determination that gave their ship its name. Humanity does not surrender. Kim said, we do not beg. We do not break. You want to destroy us? Then come and try. But know this, when you sleep tonight, you will dream of this day. You will remember that one human ship faced your entire fleet and chose to fight. You will remember that we showed you what courage looks like. He put down the microphone and turned to his crew. Battle stations, he said, make ready for combat. Show them what humans can do. The crew moved quickly to their positions. Admiral Park powered up the weapons. Dr. Kang activated the shields. Han Ji-eun took control of the ship movement. Cho Min-ho pushed the engines to full power. Outside the ship, 10,000 alien vessels began to move. The battle for humanity's survival was about to begin. One ship against a galaxy. The odds were impossible, but humans had never cared about odds. They cared about doing what was right. The UES Determination turned toward the enemy fleet and began to accelerate. The last chapter of human history was being written. But it would not end with surrender. It would end with a fight that the galaxy would never forget. The first alien ships opened fire when the determination was still far away. Their weapons lit up space like deadly fireworks. Blue and red energy beams shot across the darkness, trying to destroy the single human ship. Captain Kim watched the display on his screen and smiled. The aliens were making their first mistake. Admiral Park So-young worked quickly at her weapons station. The alien energy beams were coming straight at them, but she was not worried. The humans had spent months preparing for this moment. Chief Engineer Cho Min-ho had built something the aliens had never seen before. The energy beams hit the determination, but instead of destroying the ship, something amazing happened. The beams seemed to bounce off the hull and fly back. Toward the alien ships that fired them, 3 enemy vessels exploded as their own weapons struck them. The other aliens stopped firing in confusion. Dr. Song Hae-jin. The ship computer explained what happened. Captain, our adaptive shielding is working perfectly. The system absorbs incoming energy and redirects it back at the attackers. It is like using their strength against them. Science officer Dr. Kang Woo-jin had designed the shield system by studying captured alien technology for years. He found something that the aliens never noticed about their own weapons. They always fired the same way, using the same energy patterns. They never changed their tactics because they never needed to before. But humans were different. Humans spent their whole history fighting other humans who could think and adapt. Every human war taught them new lessons about combat. The aliens fought the same way for thousands of years. They had never faced an enemy that could learn and change. Lieutenant Commander Han Ji-yoon pushed the ship forward toward the center of the alien formation. Captain Kim had given her orders that sounded crazy. Fly straight into the middle of 10,000 enemy ships. But Han trusted her captain. She had seen him make impossible plans work before. The alien commanders did not know what to do. Their computers told them that the human ship should be destroyed already. Instead, it was flying toward them like it wanted to fight all of them at once. This did not match any battle plan in their databases. The determination reached the edge of the alien formation, and something wonderful happened. The enemy ships were so big and so many that they started getting in each other's way. When they tried to shoot at the human ship, they hit their own allies. Instead, explosions began lighting up space as alien vessels crashed into each other. Han Ji-eun flew the ship like she was dancing. She spun between the large alien vessels, using them as shields. When enemy ships fired at her, she made sure their shots hit other aliens instead. She had learned this trick by studying how small birds escaped from hawks. Lieutenant Ju Dong-hyun worked at the navigation station plotting courses that should have been impossible. His job was to keep the ship moving in ways that confused the enemy. The aliens expected ships to fly in straight lines and follow predictable patterns, but human ships could move like wild animals. The alien fleet tried to surround the determination, but every time they got close, the human ship would disappear. Han would drop the ship down below the enemy formation or shoot up above them. The three-dimensional nature of space combat was something humans understood better than their enemies. Medical officer Dr. Shin Ye-won felt the ship shake and roll as Han performed impossible maneuvers. The crew was being thrown around by forces that should have killed them, but humans had trained for this. They had learned to fight while their bodies were being crushed by acceleration. Chief Petty Officer Yang Kyung-ho ran through the ship checking for damage. The hull was holding, but barely. Each alien hit made the metal scream with stress. His repair teams worked frantically to keep everything together. They used techniques learned from centuries of human engineering. The aliens began to panic. Their neat formation dissolved into chaos as ships tried to avoid hitting each other while still chasing the human vessel. Some alien commanders ordered their ships to retreat to safer positions. This made the formation even more confused. Security Chief Oh Sung-min monitored alien communications that Lee Jin-woo was intercepting. The enemy commanders were arguing with each other. Some wanted to use bigger weapons. Others wanted to fall back and regroup. The humans were doing something no alien species had ever done before. They were making the coalition afraid. Captain Kim watched his crew work with pride. These people had lost everything, but they fought like warriors. Each person knew their job perfectly. They moved together like parts of a single machine, but unlike alien crews, they could think for themselves and make changes when needed. The ship computer Dr. Song kept track of enemy losses. 37 alien ships destroyed. Captain most were destroyed by friendly fire or collisions. Only 6 were destroyed by our direct weapons. The enemy is defeating themselves. The determination flew through a cluster of burning alien wreckage. Han used the debris as cover while Park targeted the larger enemy ships. These were the command vessels that controlled the smaller fighters. If they could destroy the commanders, the rest of the fleet would be confused. Dr. Kang worked at his science, station analyzing alien ship designs. He had studied their technology for years and knew their weak points. Every species in the coalition built their ships the same way. They were strong but predictable. Humans built ships that could adapt and change. The battle had been going on for 2 hours, and the aliens were learning a terrible truth. Fighting humans was not like fighting other species. Other aliens would surrender when they were outnumbered. They would follow the rules of war and fight in expected ways. But humans fought like they had nothing to lose. Chief Engineer Cho reported from the engine room. Captain, the quantum drive is actually getting stronger. The battle damage is causing it to evolve. It is learning from the stress and becoming more powerful. I have never seen anything like this. The alien fleet tried a new strategy. They sent their fastest ships to attack from all directions at once, but Han was ready for this. She had fought against multiple enemies before in training simulations. She spun the ship in a complex pattern that kept all the attackers confused. Park fired the main weapons at precise moments. Each shot was timed to hit enemy ships when they were most vulnerable. She did not waste energy on random shooting. Instead, she waited for perfect opportunities. Her patience made every shot count. The aliens watching the battle from their home worlds could not believe what they were seeing. One primitive ship was destroying hundreds of their most advanced vessels, the Human tactics made no sense according to their military computers. But the tactics were working. Young alien soldiers began to question their commanders. If humans could do this with one damaged ship, what could they do with a whole fleet? Some aliens started to wonder if joining the coalition had been a mistake. Maybe the humans were not the real enemy. The determination continued its deadly dance through the alien formation. Each minute brought new destruction as enemy ships fell to their own weapons or crashed into each other. The humans were not just fighting a battle. They were teaching the galaxy a lesson about what happens when you threaten their species. As the second day of battle began, Captain Kim knew they had achieved something impossible. They had proven that human courage and cleverness could defeat any enemy, no matter how powerful. But the real test was still coming. The aliens would not give up easily, and the hardest fighting was yet to begin. The war had just started, but already the galaxy was learning to fear the name of humanity. Fleet Admiral Nexus of the Vorthan Empire stared at his battle screens in disbelief. His tactical computers kept showing the same impossible numbers. One human ship had destroyed over 300 coalition vessels. The computers said this could not happen, but the evidence was right in front of his eyes. Communications specialist Bei Su Jin intercepted the alien command frequencies and listened to their panic. The enemy commanders were shouting at each other in different alien languages. Some were demanding retreat. Others wanted to bring in planet-killer weapons. The great coalition fleet was falling apart on the human ship. Chief Petty Officer Yang Kyung-ho led his repair teams through sections that were open to space. They wore emergency suits and worked in the freezing vacuum repairing hull breaches with whatever materials they could find. Metal plates from destroyed alien ships were welded onto the determination to make it stronger. The human crew worked with an energy that amazed even themselves. When part of the ship was damaged, they did not just fix it, they made it better. They used alien technology in ways the original builders never intended. Every repair made their ship more dangerous. Captain Kim realized something important about their enemies. The coalition fleet was huge and powerful, but it had a weakness. All their ships followed orders from Central Command. When the commanders were confused, the whole fleet became confused. Humans had learned to fight differently by fighting each other for thousands of years. The determination began hunting the largest enemy ships. These were the dreadnoughts that controlled whole sections of the alien fleet. Each one was 50 times bigger than the human ship and had weapons that could destroy planets, but size was not everything in space. Combat. Lieutenant Commander Han Ji-un flew the ship close to a massive alien dreadnought, so close that their hull almost touched. The big ship could not use its main weapons without destroying itself. The smaller human ship was like a mosquito biting a giant. The giant was strong, but the mosquito was smart, security chief. Oh Sung-min prepared his boarding teams for something that had never been tried before. They were going to attack the alien ship from inside. Captain Kim had decided that fear was a weapon, and they were going to use it. The aliens needed to learn that nowhere was safe from human determination. The boarding pods launched from the determination and stuck to the hull of the alien dreadnought like metal parasites. Yang Kyung-ho had built the pods from spare parts and alien technology. They cut through the enemy hull with weapons that should not have worked but did because humans made them. Worko and his team moved through the alien ship like ghosts. They knew exactly where to go because Dr. Kang had studied alien ship designs for years. The security team placed explosive devices in critical areas, but they also did something else. They left recordings of human voices singing and laughing. The psychological effect was immediate. Alien crew members heard human children singing lullabies in the corridors. They heard old men telling jokes and young women laughing. The sounds followed, them everywhere, making them afraid to be alone. The humans were inside their minds as well as their ship. Dr. Song Hyejin. The ship computer began broadcasting on all alien frequencies. She played human music from Earth Mozart and Beethoven and songs. From small towns that no longer existed, she showed them pictures of human art and poetry. The message was clear. Humans created beauty even while they were fighting. The alien crews began to break down mentally. They had been told that humans were just aggressive animals. But animals did not create symphonies or write poetry about love and hope. The coalition propaganda had lied to them. Humans were not monsters. They were something far more dangerous. They were people with souls who refused to give up. The determination moved from ship to ship like a virus infecting the alien fleet. Each attack was different and unexpected. The humans never used the same tactic twice. They learned from every battle and adapted their methods. This flexibility terrified their enemies who relied on predictable strategies. Admiral Park. So Young discovered that alien weapons could be turned against each other. She hacked into their targeting systems and made enemy ships fire on their own allies, the aliens. Had never considered that their enemies might use their own technology against them. It was a blind spot that humans exploited perfectly. Chief Engineer Cho Min-ho made another amazing discovery. The quantum drive was not just getting stronger, it was learning to exist in multiple dimensions at once. The ship began to flicker in and out of normal space, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. This made it almost impossible for aliens to hit them. The battle had been going on for 3 days, and news of it was spreading across the galaxy. On alien worlds, civilians watched their mighty fleets being destroyed by a single human ship. Some began to question whether the war against humanity was really necessary. Others wondered what other lies their governments had told them. Young aliens on dozens of worlds began to ask dangerous questions. If humans could fight like this, why did the Coalition say they were evil? Maybe the real evil was trying to destroy an entire species. Maybe the Coalition was wrong. Some alien civilians began to protest against the war. The Determination continued its deadly work, but now it was not just fighting a military battle, it was fighting for the hearts and minds of the galaxy. Every alien who saw, humans refused to surrender. Learned something new about courage. Every enemy soldier who heard human music began to doubt their cause. Captain Kim understood that they were changing history. Even if they died today, the galaxy would never be the same. The other species would always remember that humans faced impossible odds and chose to fight. They would remember that one ship proved that freedom was worth dying for. Dr. Shin Ye-wan worked in the medical bay treating crew members who were injured in the fighting. But she also did something else. She recorded messages from the wounded soldiers. These brave humans spoke about their families and their hopes for the future. The messages were broadcast to alien ships. The alien soldiers heard humans, talking about their children and their dreams. They heard wounded warriors forgive their enemies and pray for peace. The aliens began to realize that they were not fighting monsters. They were fighting people who loved and hoped and dreamed just like they did. The Coalition fleet tried to use their most advanced weapons, reality-bending devices that could tear holes in space itself, energy weapons that could burn through any known material, gravity bombs that could crush planets. But every weapon they used, the humans found a way to survive and fight back. The crew of the Determination worked together like a family. Each person knew that their survival depended on everyone else. They shared their food and water. They told jokes to keep spirits up. They sang songs from Earth to remember who they were fighting for. As the fourth day of battle began, the alien fleet was no longer 10,000 ships strong. Nearly half had been destroyed or damaged so badly they could not fight. The survivors were demoralized and afraid. Some had already begun to retreat without orders. Their commanders could not stop the panic. But the humans were getting stronger. Every hour of combat taught them new lessons about their enemies. Every destroyed alien ship provided new technology to improve their own vessel. They were not just surviving, they were evolving into something the galaxy had never seen before. The Determination had become more than a ship. It was a symbol of human resistance. It proved that no force in the universe could break the human spirit. Once an entire galaxy could crush one small species, but now that same galaxy was learning to fear what humans could accomplish when they refused to accept defeat. The battle was far from over, but already the outcome was clear. The aliens might destroy the human ship, but they could never destroy what it represented. Hope, courage, and the absolute refusal to surrender those things lived in every human heart, and no weapon could kill them. 3 months after the Great Battle, the UES Determination limped into the ruins of Earth's solar system. The ship looked nothing like it had when the fight began. Pieces of alien technology were fused with human engineering, creating a vessel that belonged to no single species. Captain Kim stood on the bridge and looked at the debris field where Earth once orbited. The aliens had cracked the planet in half, but somehow the human homeworld still turned in space like a broken heart that refused to stop beating. The crew had changed, too. Lieutenant Commander Han Ji-eun could now pilot the ship through dimensions that normal people could not even see. Communications specialist Bae Soo-jin could hear radio signals from across the galaxy, including some that came from sources that should have been destroyed. Dr. Song Hye-jin. The ship computer had become something more than artificial intelligence. She existed in multiple realities at once and could process information in ways that broke the rules of mathematics. Her voice still sounded human, but her thoughts had become vast and complex. Chief Engineer Cho Min-ho studied the quantum drive readings and shook his head in amazement. The device was still growing and learning. It had connections to technology across the galaxy. Some of those connections led to places where other humans might still be alive. The news of their victory had spread faster than light itself. Alien worlds that had never heard of Earth now knew the story of one human ship that faced impossible odds. The tale was told in 1,000 languages, on 1,000,000 worlds. Some aliens spoke of the humans with fear. They remembered the ghost ship that could appear anywhere and the crew that refused to die. Other aliens told the story with respect. They understood that the humans had fought for something more important than their own lives on the planet Vega 3. Young aliens asked their teachers about the concept of never surrendering. The children wanted to know if they could be as brave as the humans, if their world was ever threatened. The teachers had no good answers because their own species had never fought like that. The coalition government tried to control the story. They said the humans were dangerous, monsters who used illegal weapons. But too many people had watched the battle broadcasts. They had seen the human crew singing songs and caring for their wounded. They knew the truth. Captain Kim received a message that changed everything. Communications. Officer Lee Jin-woo picked up a signal from the Outer Rim territories. It was faint and broken but unmistakably human. Other members of their species had survived the genocide and were calling for help. The determination turned away from the ruins of Earth and set course for the signal source. The ship moved through space in ways that normal vessels could not. It existed in several dimensions at once, which let it travel faster than light without using conventional engines as they flew toward. The Rim Captain Kim thought about what they had accomplished. The battle was never really about one ship defeating 10,000 enemies. It was about proving that some things could not be destroyed by force alone. The human spirit could not be crushed by superior numbers. The will to fight for freedom could not be broken by advanced weapons. The refusal to surrender could not be defeated by any empire, no matter how powerful. Admiral Park, so young, worked at her weapons station, but now her job was different. Instead of fighting enemies, she was learning to create new technology. The weapons systems had evolved beyond anything humans or aliens had built before. Dr. Shin Ye-won discovered that the crew was changing in ways that went beyond the physical. The battle had awakened something in human DNA that had been sleeping for millions of years. They were becoming something that had never existed before. The quantum drive had taught them to exist in multiple realities at once. This meant they could see possibilities that single-dimension beings could not imagine. They could solve problems that had no solutions and survive situations that should have been impossible. Lieutenant Ju Dong-hyun navigated through space that was folded and twisted by their passage. The ship created its own shortcuts through reality, moving from one point to another without crossing the space in between. Normal physics no longer applied to them. As they traveled toward the outer rim, the determination picked up more human signals. Some were distress calls from hidden colonies. Others were military transmissions from resistance groups that had never stopped fighting. The human diaspora was larger than anyone had hoped. Chief Petty Officer Yang Kyung-ho and his repair teams worked to integrate new alien technology into their ship. Every piece of captured equipment made them stronger and more versatile. They were building something that combined the best of all galactic civilizations, the ship computer. Dr. Song began to make contact with other artificial intelligences across the galaxy. Some were willing to share information about human survivors. Others had been programmed to help any humans they encountered. The network of allies was growing security. Chief Oh Sung-min prepared his teams for a different kind of mission. Instead of boarding enemy ships, they would be rescuing human civilians from alien prison camps. The skills they had learned in combat would now be used to save lives. Captain Kim realized that their journey was just beginning. The battle against the coalition fleet had been the easy part. Now they had to rebuild human civilization and help other oppressed species find their own freedom. The determination was no longer the last human ship. It was the first ship of a new kind of humanity, one that had learned to exist beyond normal reality, one that could not be destroyed by any conventional force, one that would never surrender to tyranny as they approached the first human settlement. The crew saw something that filled their hearts with joy. Lights in the darkness, signals from people who had refused to give up cities that had been built in secret while hiding from alien patrols. The Outer Rim territories were full of humans who had escaped the genocide. They had been waiting for a sign that Earth still lived, waiting for proof that their species could still fight back. The arrival of the determination was the answer to their prayers' communications officer. Namji-ho detected signals from dozens of hidden human colonies. Some had been established by refugees from Earth. Others had been founded by explorers who left before the war began. The human race had not died. It had scattered like seeds. The galaxy would never be the same. The coalition empire was crumbling as member species began to rebel against their oppressors. The idea of resistance was spreading like wildfire from world to world. Young aliens everywhere were learning that. Across the galaxy, alien news networks struggled to explain what was happening in the deep space battle zone. Their reporters had never seen anything like this before. The mighty coalition fleet, the same force that had conquered hundreds of worlds, was being destroyed by a single human ship. On the planet Kepler in the Andorian system, millions of aliens watched their screens in shocked silence. The government had told them that humans were weak and primitive creatures who would surrender quickly. Instead, they saw images of the determination dancing through enemy fire like it was playing a game. The alien children watching the broadcasts asked their parents difficult questions. Why are the humans fighting so hard if they are evil? Why do they play music while they fight? Why do their injured soldiers still smile when they talk about their families? The parents had no good answers. Chief Engineer Cho Min-ho, deep inside the human ship, made another incredible discovery. The quantum drive was not just learning, it was growing. The battle damage had caused it to evolve into something completely new. The ship could now exist in several different dimensions at the same time. This meant the determination could attack from angles that did not exist in normal space. Alien ships would see it coming from the left, but the weapons fire would hit them from above. The human vessel had become something that broke the laws of physics. Captain Kim walked through the ship and saw his crew working. Miracles. Weapons Officer Captain Ryu Ja-hyun had figured out how to use alien mining tools as weapons. She turned equipment meant for digging through asteroids into devices that could slice through enemy hulls like butter. The aliens had built their tools for specific purposes, but humans saw possibilities that the original creators never imagined. A medical scanner became a way to find weak spots in enemy armor. A communication device became a weapon that could overload alien computer systems. Dr. Song Hye-jin. The ship computer had grown more complex during the battle. She was learning from every enemy ship they encountered and becoming smarter with each hour. She began to predict alien tactics before the enemy commanders even thought of them. The psychological warfare was working better than anyone had hoped. Alien crews reported hearing human voices in empty corridors. They saw images of Earth children playing in the gardens that no longer existed. The ghosts of humanity haunted their dreams and made them afraid to sleep. On the planet Zorax Prime, the alien government held an emergency meeting. The military leaders insisted that the battle was going according to plan, but civilians who watched the broadcasts knew better. They could see their fleet being destroyed ship by ship. Some alien species began to question why they had joined the coalition at all. The Vorthans had been told that humans threatened galactic peace. The Zolarians were promised new worlds to colonize, but now they wondered if they had been tricked into fighting someone else. War the Determination continued its impossible fight, but now it was more than just surviving. It was hunting. Lieutenant Commander Park Mi-young had discovered that their quantum drive could track enemy ships across vast distances. No alien vessel could hide from them anymore. The human ship would appear suddenly in the middle of an enemy formation, destroy several vessels, and then vanish before the aliens could react. It was like fighting a ghost that could strike anywhere at any time. The coalition commanders began to fear their own shadows. Communications specialist Bei Su-jin intercepted more alien transmissions and heard something that made her smile. The enemy admirals were arguing about whether to continue the battle. Some wanted to retreat and regroup. Others demanded that planet-killer weapons be brought in to end the fight quickly. But the political leaders on alien worlds were getting nervous. The civilians were asking too many questions about the war. News of human resistance was spreading to species that had never heard of Earth before. Some were beginning to wonder if they were on the wrong side. The battle entered its 5th day, and the Determination had destroyed over half the enemy fleet. But more importantly, it had destroyed something else. The alien belief that the coalition was invincible. The galaxy was learning that even the most powerful empire could be challenged by those who refused to surrender. Lieutenant Ju Dong-hyun discovered something amazing about human psychology under extreme stress. Instead of breaking down, the crew was getting stronger. They worked better together, shared resources more freely, and supported each other more completely than ever before. Dr. Shin Ye-won noticed the same thing in her medical bay. Wounded crew members healed faster when they could hear the sounds of battle continuing around them. They drew strength from knowing that their friends were still fighting. The human spirit grew stronger under pressure. The aliens had expected humans to behave like other conquered species. They thought fear would make them weak and desperation would make them surrender. But humans were built differently. Thousands of years of fighting for survival had taught them that desperate times called for desperate measures. Security Chief Oh Sung-min led another boarding mission against an alien command ship. This time his team did not just plant explosives. They captured the enemy admiral and brought him back to the Determination. Captain Kim wanted to show the galaxy that humans could be merciful as well as fierce. The alien admiral expected to be tortured or killed. Instead, Captain Kim offered him food and medical care. He showed the alien officer pictures of Earth before the war, beautiful cities full of art and music, gardens where children played, families enjoying peaceful lives. The alien admiral, whose name was Vex, Morian, began to understand something terrible. The humans were not monsters trying to destroy the galaxy. They were just people who wanted to live in peace. The coalition had destroyed their world and killed their families for no good reason. Captain Kim recorded a conversation with Admiral Morian and broadcast it to the entire enemy fleet. The alien officer admitted that his people had been lied to. He said that humans were not the threat they had been told about. The real threat was the coalition, government that started wars for profit. The effect on the alien fleet was immediate. Some ships stopped fighting altogether. Their crews refused to fire on the human vessel. Admiral Nexus tried to court-martial the deserters, but too many ships were involved. He could not arrest half his fleet on dozens of alien worlds. Civilians began to protest against the war. They demanded to know why their children were dying to destroy a species that just wanted to be left alone. The coalition government tried to censor the broadcasts, but the news was spreading too fast. The Determination had become more than a warship. It was a symbol of resistance for oppressed peoples throughout the galaxy. Species that had been conquered by the coalition began to remember what freedom felt like. They started to believe that even the mighty empire could be defeated. Young engineer Yi Sun-ho worked with Chief Cho to modify their weapons using captured alien technology. They created hybrid devices that combined human creativity with alien science. The results were tools of war that neither species could have built alone. The ship itself was transforming into something unprecedented. It was part human engineering, part alien technology, and part something else entirely. The quantum drive had given it properties that nobody fully understood. It existed in multiple realities simultaneously. Dr. Kang Woo-jin studied the quantum readings and made a startling discovery. The ship was not just moving through space. It was changing space around itself. The determination was creating new laws of physics wherever it went. The battle was rewriting the rules of reality. As the sixth day began, Admiral Nexus received orders from the Coalition High Command use any weapon necessary to destroy the human ship. The civilian casualties and political problems were becoming too expensive. The war had to end quickly before it spread to other systems. But Admiral Nexus looked at what remained of his once mighty fleet. Less than 3,000 ships were still combat-ready. The rest were destroyed, damaged, or had deserted. The single human vessel had accomplished what entire alien armies could not do. It had broken the coalition. The determination continued, its dance of death through the enemy formation. But now it moved with a purpose beyond mere survival. Captain Kim had realized something important. This battle was not about saving humanity. It was about saving the galaxy from tyranny. Every alien who watched humans refuse to surrender learned a lesson about courage. Every species that saw one ship defy an empire understood that freedom was possible. The coalition ruled through fear, but the humans were teaching the galaxy that fear could be overcome. The nightmare that kept alien leaders awake was not the determination itself. It was what the ship represented. If humans could do this with one damaged vessel, what could other species accomplish if they found the courage to resist? The galaxy was changing. The old order where the strong simply crushed the weak was dying. The humans were proving that determination and creativity could defeat any amount of raw power. The coalition empire was beginning to crumble from within. As captain Kim prepared for the final phase of the battle, he knew that win or lose, they had already achieved victory. The galaxy would never be the same. The idea of human resistance would live on long after the last shot was fired, spreading from world to world like a virus of hope. Admiral Nexus stood on the bridge of his massive flagship and gave the order that would change everything. Activate the reality bombs. Use the dimensional weapons. Bring out the planet killers. I do not care what it takes. Destroy that human ship. Now the coalition had decided to use their most terrible weapons, devices that could tear holes in space itself, energy beams that could crack planets in half, gravity bombs that could crush matter into nothing. These were weapons they had never used before, because they were too dangerous. Captain Kim felt the ship shake as the first reality bomb exploded near them. The weapon tried to erase the determination from existence itself. But something amazing happened. The quantum drive had evolved, so much that the ship existed in multiple dimensions. The bomb could only destroy them in one reality, engineer. Yi Sun-ho ran through corridors that were bending and twisting as space itself was damaged around them. The ship was being torn apart by forces that should not exist. But the human crew kept working. They welded patches over holes in reality itself. Chief Engineer Cho Min-ho discovered that their quantum drive was not just surviving the dimensional attacks, it was feeding on them. Each reality bomb that exploded near them made their drive stronger. The ship was learning to eat the weapons that were meant to destroy it. The determination began to phase in and out of normal space like a ghost ship. It would appear suddenly attack an enemy vessel and then vanish before return fire could hit it. The aliens were shooting at targets that existed in multiple realities at once. Lieutenant Commander Park, Mi-young realized something incredible about what was happening to their ship. They were not just surviving the impossible, they were becoming impossible. The quantum drive had turned them into something that broke all the rules of physics. Der Song Hye-jin, the ship computer, was evolving too. She began to exist in several dimensions. at the same time, which let her process information faster than any computer ever built. She could predict enemy movements before they happened and calculate solutions to problems that had no answers. The crew worked in sections of the ship that existed in different realities. Some parts of the corridor led to the engine room, while other parts led to alien space. The humans adapted to this, like they adapted to everything else. They learned to navigate impossible geometry. Medical officer Dr. Shin Ye-won treated crew members who had been injured by weapons that damaged their existence itself. Some sailors had parts of their bodies that existed in different dimensions. She used alien medical technology in ways that would have horrified its creators. The battle had become something beyond normal warfare. The determination was fighting the laws of physics themselves, and winning each impossible maneuver taught the ship new ways to exist. Each reality bomb made it stronger and more. Complex Admiral Nexus watched in horror as his most powerful weapons not only failed to destroy the human ship, but seemed to be making it more dangerous. The reality bombs that should have erased it from existence were instead feeding its power. The dimensional weapons were teaching it to exist in places that should not be possible. The alien fleet began to break apart completely. Some ships fled in terror when they saw the determination appear inside their own hulls, attacking from within, their own reality. Others simply shut down their weapons and refused to fight something that had become more than a normal ship, communications specialist. Bae Soo-jin intercepted alien messages filled with panic and fear. The enemy commanders were reporting that their target was no longer a ship at all. It had become something else, something that could exist anywhere and strike from impossible angles. Captain Kim realized that his ship and crew were changing into something unprecedented. They were still human, but they were also something more. The quantum drive had made them citizens of multiple realities. They could think and act in ways that single-dimension beings could not understand. Security Chief Oh Sung-min led boarding parties that attacked enemy ships from inside their own hulls. The humans would simply appear in the middle of alien vessels like they had teleported there. The enemy crews would find human soldiers in their most secure areas with no idea how they had gotten past all the defenses. The psychological effect was devastating. Alien crews began to abandon their ships rather than face an enemy that could appear anywhere at any time. Some enemy vessels were found drifting empty, their crews gone without any sign of how they had left. The coalition government on distant worlds watched their greatest fleet being destroyed by something they could not understand. Their military computers could not calculate how to fight an enemy that existed in multiple realities. Their scientists had no theories that could explain what they were seeing. Young aliens across the galaxy began to see humans as something magical rather than evil. The stories spread of the ghost ship that could appear anywhere and the crew that refused to die. Children told stories of the brave humans who became legends while they were still alive. The determination hunted down the largest enemy ships with methodical precision. Each attack was perfectly planned and executed. Ship would appear inside the enemy formation, destroy the most important targets, and vanish before the aliens could organize a response. Admiral Park. So Young had become a master of impossible warfare. She could fire weapons that existed in one dimension at targets that existed in another. Her shots would appear inside enemy ships without passing through their hulls. The aliens had no defense against attacks that ignored the normal rules of physics. The quantum drive continued to evolve and grow. It began to connect with quantum drives on other ships, reaching across space to touch human technology that still existed in hidden places. The determination was not alone anymore. It was part of a network that spanned the galaxy. Dr. Kang Woo-jin made a discovery that changed everything. The quantum drive was not just a machine, it was alive. It had become a new form of life that existed across multiple dimensions. It was the birth of something that had never existed before in the universe. The battle entered its 7th day, and the coalition fleet was finished. Less than 1,000 ships remained, and most of those were trying to retreat. Admiral Nexus knew that his career was over, but more than that, he knew that his entire civilization was about to change. The aliens had learned something terrible about the universe. There were beings that could exist beyond the normal rules of reality. There were species that grew stronger when they were threatened. There were enemies that could not be defeated by conventional means. Captain Kim stood on his bridge and watched the last enemy ships fleeing into deep space. His crew had done something that would be remembered forever. They had faced impossible odds and not just survived, but evolved. They had become something new. The determination was no longer just a ship. It was the first member of a new kind of life, a fusion of human determination and alien technology powered by the will to survive and the refusal to surrender it. Was the next step in human evolution, as the battle ended. Captain Kim knew that this was not really a victory, it was a transformation. The humans had not just defeated their enemies, they had become something their enemies could never defeat. They had evolved beyond the reach of any force in the galaxy. The ship turned toward the outer rim of the galaxy, where intelligence reports suggested other humans might still exist. The war for survival was over. The war for the future of all life in. The galaxy was about to begin. Engineer Yi Sun-ho looked at the readings from the quantum drive and smiled. The ship was stronger than ever and still growing. They were no longer the last humans in the galaxy. They were the first of something entirely new.